All right, so what I have here is about 1 teaspoon of yeast to about 1.5 teaspoons of sugar. I'm just gonna make a really small batch, okay? We're just gonna add some warm water in there with my good old SpongeBob cup. Give that a mix. And then leave this to sit here for about 5 to 10 minutes. All right, so the yeast is activated, as you could see. And I'm gonna throw in 2 cups of flour and about 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And we're just gonna bring this together. Now, you're gonna realize that this has a lot of oil and butter in it. I did not say this is a healthy dish, but it will be one of the best things that you eat. So try it once. I am pretty sure you're gonna like it. Okay, so once you get this just formed together here, I have 1/3 cup of oil. I'm just gonna add some of that, maybe about half, and knead that in. This is really gonna help bring this together even better. All right, and we're just gonna keep kneading this. We're gonna knead this for about 5 minutes, and after that, we're gonna leave it to rest for about, let's say 10 to 15 minutes. All right, so we'll come back once this is rested. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. So now we're gonna finish knead this dough. We have another cup of flour here that we're just gonna use as needed to bring this to the consistency that we want. So let me just see if I could raise this here a little bit. All right, that should be enough. So we're gonna sprinkle some flour on here. Put some flour on our hands and take this dough out. So obviously the dough is still very sticky, right? We didn't add much flour. We only let it sit for about 10 minutes. But this is meant to be a really, really soft dough because you want your roti to be really soft and silky. So don't be surprised if you use this entire cup of flour bringing this together, because it is still very, very, very soft. Okay, so you're gonna need this for another 5 to 10 minutes until you're able to stretch it and see almost through it, kind of like how a pizza dough is. So I intend to speed this up, but if you see me stretching the dough in front of the camera, that's for you to see just how thin the dough can stretch. Right now I'll show you how this dough, it hasn't been kneaded yet, so I want you to see how it's gonna break easily. So right now we break it out. See, it's already breaking. All right, so when it is we knead this for another 5-10 minutes, you are gonna see how it will be able to stretch without breaking like that. Okay, so at this point we probably used about 3/4 cup of flour, and it's at the point where it's not sticking too much. So it's not at the point yet where it'll stretch all the way without breaking, right? It's doing better, but if we try to go where it's see-through, it stretches. It breaks, sorry. So this is where the rest of that oil comes into play. So now, instead of flour, you're just gonna use oil on your hand, and you're gonna use some oil on your surface. And this is what we're gonna finish kneading the flour with. And just in case you guys want to see what I'm doing when I'm kneading, I'm using the base of my hand to push forward and then my fingers to fold it back in. So push forward, fold back in, 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 and that's it. Okay, so let's see. At this point, you could see, you could get almost all the way right before it breaks. So you know you're almost there. You probably have just about a minute again to go. At this point, if you're really tired, you could actually just be done. But the thinner you're able to roll this out, the softer it's gonna be. So we're gonna go the extra minute at least. Okay, so we're at a point now where I could actually, you could see my finger, but it has not punctured. So we're where we want to be. At this point, we're actually gonna pinch out what size balls we want, and then we're gonna leave them all to rest. So with some flour, let's go ahead and create an area that we're gonna put these balls. And now you just choose what size you want, and the size you want will, be based on how big of a frying pan you have, or griddle, or whatever surface you're gonna make this on. Okay, so I have a fairly small surface that I'm gonna use, so I'm not gonna go too big. All I'm doing is holding it, deciding how big I want it, and squeeze all the way, and that's it. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, that's good enough. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and form the ball. So just open it out a little bit, tuck it under each other. Now you're just gonna hold and use your thumb to push down like this and turn. That's it. I don't know how I count 7 because we have 8, but 8 it is. Okay, so now we're just gonna cover this down with a damp paper towel or maybe some plastic wrap. We're gonna leave this to rest for about 20 minutes or so before we move on to the next step. All right, so it's been about 25 minutes, and for this step I have here about half stick of butter, and I'm gonna add the rest of the oil that I have to this. You probably need about 1/3 of a cup in total, so let's add some more. And you're gonna need your rolling pin. So just to give me some space so that you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna transfer this over on this other side here. Bring our flour. And we're just gonna flour our surface. So we're gonna roll out the dough. Doesn't have to be perfect. So, or if you hear the dog barking, I wasn't planning on making a video today. So, I didn't time it when they don't make noise. So, it is what it is. Alright, now you're going to mix the butter and oil together. And you're actually going to paste this with that mixture. Okay, now you're just gonna, you could use a butter knife or a knife to do this. I just use my finger. From the center, you're gonna use your finger and you're actually gonna pull all the way down and pretty much create that tear. And you're gonna roll this all the way around until we reach on this side. It's gonna create an almost like a cone. Okay. Roll, 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 roll. And then when it gets to this point, you're going to take the top, pull it around here, and then close it up like that. And you pretty much end up almost back to this point where you have a ball again. So I'll just do one more in real time so you could see, and then we'll skip ahead to when we're actually gonna roll these out and finalize this dish. So again, roll it out. I know the dog is annoying, but can't help that. Take your butter oil mixture. If you want, you can use a pastry brush or something like that. I don't really see the need to. Put this all over. And I'm sure you could see I've been pretty generous with this, okay? Center, cut all the way down. Roll. I'm gonna roll all the way around. When it's done, take the top all the way to the bottom, tuck it in there, and again, we're pretty much back where we started, in almost like the shape of a baller, because the bottom is still pretty rough, but that's okay. The main thing is that you roll the oil and flour mixture, sorry, oil and butter mixture all in between. And that's it. So I'm gonna do the rest of these, and I'll see you guys back when it's time to actually go to the stove. Okay, so we're on to the last step. So we just have this little bit of butter and oil mixture remaining. We're gonna add about another 1/3 cup of oil to it. You may need more. We'll see. You use this as you go. Next, I have about a 1/2 cup of flour, and that's just what we're gonna use to roll out the dough. Okay, I'll roll out one and show you guys in this view, and then we will move over to the actual stove so you could see the cooking process. All right, so I just put it in straight into the flour, pat it down, try to get it into a circle to the best of your ability, and then go ahead and roll it out. As you flip, put it in the flour, roll out, flip, flour, roll out. And you do that as many times as you need to, and add flour to the top as many times as you need to get it as thin as you would like it. So you can see these are pretty small. If you go bigger, you need to make sure you have something that's large enough to hold, you know, this shape. But this right here is perfect to go into a frying pan or something like that without any problems. Now, as far as the stove goes, you would ideally need this large thing here. It's called a doubler, but for the purpose of this video, to show that anybody could do this, we're just gonna use the back of a pot spoon. So from here, we're just gonna go straight onto the stove, and I'm gonna show you guys how you finish this up. Okay, so what I have here is, it's called a tower, but if you need to use a small frying pan or a large frying pan, up to you. I have a pastry brush that I'm gonna use for the oil, and then I just have my spoon that I'm gonna use the back of. So first thing you're gonna do, you're gonna put some oil onto your frying pan or tower. Not too much, as you can see. I have the heat on about medium here. You will adjust the heat as you go based on what kind of stove you have, what kind of heat it's putting off. And we're just gonna go straight on with the roti that we just rolled out. Around the edges, we're gonna go ahead and put more oil. And you're just gonna put some around the middle and wherever else. So then you're gonna cook this for a little while, and you will see it start rising. Okay, you could see these little bits rising here. And you could either wait for it to like really rise and then flip it, but just to make sure that I'm keeping track of the color, we're just gonna slide underneath here, flip it over, and the next side do the same thing. Try to get oils around the edges first, and then just dab some oil. So you can see it's really rising, right? Look, if I use a spoon, you could see it patting down. So it's really soft. and airy. So it's at this point that people would actually like be really rough and push it together, break it up into pieces, and it would come out like how you may see in pictures if you look up paratha roti, or in Trinidad at least we call it bus up shot. Okay. The reason why they started doing that is to try to get it to be softer. That was the original reason, if you go read up on why. But I don't need to do that because mine is already really soft. So I'm gonna finish, make the rest of these, and then see you guys at the final product. Guys, here we go. Paratha roti. No even need to plate this up fancy or anything like that, because it's just extremely good on its own. And of course, roti, you guys know, you eat this with curry or whatever. But this is the most foolproof way to make paratha roti. It is virtually impossible to fail once you follow the instructions step by step. But yep, there you go.